Uh, Morning. Well, listen, looks like the sun's coming up anyway. It's 6:25 in the morning. It is the 20th of June, 2021. Yay. Sunday. Double yay. Well, I was didn't have a good enough sleep anyway last night, but we're here and we're alive. Listening to the Sunday political rhetoric, and some of them actually do catch my eye every once in a while. Sorry, still trying to clear out the pipes this morning. One of the news stations was interviewing Bernie Sanders, Democratic, independent probably, Vermont, and he's been asked about the states interfering with people's voting rights. There's going to be a contention and there's going to be throwout, and the thing of it is, it's not going to come to pass unless the people get pissed off about it. For months, or for a few years, the states in the red controlled areas were happy to have voting rights restricted one way or another. And the people did not rebel. They didn't even challenge it through their own Supreme Courts that they may be interfering with other people's voting rights, even though they were narrowing their ability and opportunities to vote. So basically, controlling people's rights to vote, which makes me wonder how a Supreme Court case, United States Supreme Court case, would be picking up on us and sending it back over to the lower courts because they don't want to touch it. This would raise up a constitutional fight in a couple of areas. Fed interfering with the states' rights to govern, but most importantly, was the right to vote being impeded. And until they get a precedent going on or cases going to the Supreme Court, Congress is going to have to address this and keep readdressing this. And they're going to have to fight it out among the senators and representatives regarding this. Meanwhile, the red control will still continue to restrict voting rights. They're trying to call it voting integrity. There is no integrity. It's only controlling a party. One party controls everything. They're doing the same things like I've seen other countries doing at this point over here. Venezuela, Iraq, no, not Iraq, Iran actually, Russia, North Korea. They call the Democrats socialists, and that they don't even bother to look what the true socialists are doing these days and how screwed up that is. They don't want to know. They think they're doing a fine job. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court of the United States is not going to touch it unless we get a case put up and presented to them. So until that happens, we're going to continue to get the voter suppression left and right. But they're going to be having the court case over this one way or another. And they're going to be arguing about it in Congress to make laws at this point over here and see whether or not it's going to be constitutional. And the Supreme Court's going to chew them up for breakfast. As I said before, I am no damn expert in anything, okay? Observations only, so I'm only doing my only damn observations, my own notes, my head, things I've seen, read, heard throughout my life. So no guru and no expert in anything, but what I'm observing right now is voter fraud happening in the disguise of theoretical voter fraud that never happened in the first place. And yeah, I may be a parrot on a lot of issues at this point over here. But I also have to take in weigh considerably of what the issues are. You can't be the parent of situations unless you thoroughly analyze it and then whether or not you're going to be just repeating it offhand because you're doing what the crowd says. No, 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 no. I have to look at it. My attention is still on the news this morning, the political news, because Sundays have always been political. I've also heard, and I've did a video on this one here, how people want to put God back into politics. Not going to happen. Conservatives may try to make it happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I'm not saying it as a denier at this point over here. I'm saying it because I'm stating a fact. It's not going to happen. How do I know this? Because if the conservatives actually wanted that damn thing to happen in the first place, they actually had opportunities and they flunked out. They screwed up their own damn power needs and their own damn power trips. When you get one party in, they feel the headiness and they got the rush and they think they got the control over everything because they got majority. But they also have to remember they got the responsibilities. They claim they know, but they don't know. And it's happened too many damn times. But this is government for you, isn't it? People keep screaming that we want to take back, we want to take back. Well, where are you taking it back from? And who's going to be controlling it? The power of the people? Now you're turning it into a communist nation. They're saying, well, the vote was fixed. Well, if you were there throughout the entire process, do you think the vote was fixed? From the time you get your ballot and you turn the ballot in either by mail or by person, are you going to be there watching your ballot go through the motions all throughout the day? And then you're going to be escorting that particular ballot box that you think your ballot's in to the counting centers. And are you going to be staying there at the counting centers and watching your ballot be counted physically among anybody else? And then head over to some other schmuck or schlub, whoever, to ratify and certify and sign off. Are you going to visually do this? I mean, are you actually going to be watching this specifically, carefully, cautiously? Are you going to be taking the effort necessary to see if the election results are correct? And under whose version is it correct? Is it the reality? Or your wishes of how the votes should be? Under your vision, your control, under your power. And now you're interfering with everybody else's election integrity. How does that grab you? But you think the elections were fixed because you listen to other people who claim the elections were fixed. When nobody has any proof of the damn thing, they have suppositions. They're laughing about it in the other media outlets when you got one particular media personality called the bullshit artist of the year or the week. People actually listen to people like that. It's amazing how naive they all are. Oh, but you're going to be looking at me and saying he's one of the elitists. Oh, I live like one of the elitists. I may talk like one of the elitists. I was raised in a public education system. Screwed up 2.5 years of college. Coming out of the public education system. Worked my ass out for 30 fucking plus years. Not to mention got injured and damn near killed in the same fields out there. So now I go back to school and try to get myself retrained and educated more. Trying to understand and get more context and more perspective. And the more I keep analyzing and the more I keep trying to figure things out left and right, the more I'm convinced that we sure as hell don't know our ass from a hot rock. Because basically, we don't. We're blaming the other guy for our own damn problems and everyone else's. We don't find solutions, we find more problems. because that's going to solve everything, isn't it? Point fingers. And that's not going to do it, is it? Just doesn't. So now, while they're going to be talking about voter registration in every state being compromised and integrity is compromised, all these nice little conspiracy nut jobs out there, all these Q and nerds. Yeah, that's a discrimination right there, nerds. The term was supposed to be for intelligent people getting insulted by the jock straps, the tough guys. They didn't like brains, but they had to get through life with the help of the brains, and they didn't like to be controlled by brains. Brawn should be it, huh? Mm-hmm. Cro-Magnon men. No wonder the nerds had it easy. But then again, did we ever? So, the Q and nerds, and Q and nuts, think they have things ironed out and conspiracy up the yin yang because they believe in everything else that they're coming out of their own ass. Yeah, that's their own prerogative to be that high on stuff. If they want to get high on their own damn, with their own damn fantasies, they can do so. But to infect everybody else with their own damn insanity. Would the country be better if we actually locked everybody else up? Keep a few people running the country? Have everybody in isolated cells with straight jackets? You think the country would be better that way? Because the way we're heading right now, we might as well be on Xanax or Thorazine and straight jackets and eating soft foods. I don't think we've lost our. I don't think we've lost our insanity. We've increased our insanity and lost whatever we had intelligence we've actually had because we believe more and more into the conspiracy nut jobs. So, getting back to the rights of the individual states versus the collective federal government. They're going to have a tough case on this one if it's ever brought up to the Supreme Court. The federal government's going to have to show proof and showcase and notes and examples left and right in their briefs of how the states are affecting voter rights. And understand that we have a conservative majority in there right now as it is. For the next 30 or 40 years, everything else would be interpreted another way instead of a one way we kept hoping for. Whatever it is we keep hoping for is what people have installed. And the thing of it is, if the case is made for the federal government, then the states have already lost and then they'll bite back one way or another. But the thing is, the states are going to have the right to do whatever they want and given implied powers by the Constitution, unless, of course, the Congress is already implementing rules to do so in the first place to limit what the states can and cannot do. And that's also going to be shoved back over to the Supreme Court because this is going to be interfering states' rights. Well, if they are going to be interfering in any way, shape, or form a person's right and ability to vote, we all have right to vote in the United States of America. If you're a citizen, you can vote. I did say the word citizen. If you're registered. But it keeps bringing back to certain cases I keep remembering that the federal government could not make a case against the individuals, especially when it comes down for states' rights in certain aspects. Now, when it came down for racial discrimination, yeah, It took them long enough and slow steps through the court systems and actions left and right to prove that racial discrimination does exist, harassment does exist, and it still needs to be fixed one way or another. But the people have to make the constant change. The people. They have to be pissed off enough to do it. And if they're not, well, they're not. It's up to the people in the states that the voting rights are being suppressed. They have to make the call. They're the ones who keep electing the damn officials in the office in the first place. They get what they vote for. I said that years ago. The states have to be held, the people in the states have to be held accountable and responsible and transparent. They have to hold their leaders to the same ability, to the same level. Because they want these leaders to represent the state, the people. And if the majority of the people don't want this, they should be making the call for it. But if they're not going to do a damn thing about it, it's on the states. And therefore democracy dies even further. Because now we're entering a one party in office, and it's no longer democracy. We lost it. Because the people had given approval for things the way they are. Without rallying, without rising, without doing anything else, they're allowing it to happen. And yet we saw, if you want to look at it at one particular point of view, the action happening, the quote-unquote patriotic action happening on January 6th to interfere with a presidential election. We actually did hear from some of from the minority, not the majority, but the minority, saying that this was unfair. Because we wanted this guy in, but the majority said otherwise. And they could protest about it, but that's the way they did it. Now when the president keeps telling him, and the lieutenants keep telling him on how to do an insurrection to stop the vote that's already happened already, and all the Congress is trying to do is put an official ratification, and then that was it, and then wait for the inauguration. The problem is that wasn't going to happen, was it? It was supposed to have been it should have been just a peaceful process of paperwork. Nope, didn't happen. Because the people, the minority, decided, no, we're going to interfere with the election process, everything. We keep saying that there's problems with the election, and there wasn't, because there wasn't any proof. No matter how many times the states put themselves through the audits and found out zero, they keep saying, no, run it again. There's a saying somewhere out there in the 12-step recovery programs out there. Nothing changes, but that's not exactly it. If you keep doing the same thing and expecting different results, you're insane. Paraphrase something like that. So what they expected from all their antics is to make a change in Congress. What they did was really screwed up everybody. You caused death, you caused panic, you caused mayhem. And if you're going to be doing more, then guess what? We're going to have more issues. And there's going to be more people arrested. And there's going to be more people charged. There's going to be more people put in a jail. And you're going to say, no, you can't do it. This is an oppressive country. We had a process. But if you're going to be rioting like crazy, yeah, we're going to be putting your ass in jail. It's that simple. I may sound like I've tasted and drunk and reformulated the Kool-Aid. I believe in the democratic process. I believe in what our country guiding principle is what it stood for a long time ago. And these days it's getting reinterpreted all over again. And people just can't figure it out anymore. They just don't know what it is. Well, what it is right now is evolving and changing into something people don't like. And what's its final form going to be? Nobody knows because we're still changing into something we still don't like. Maybe it'll be a lot harsher for the United States, or maybe a little bit more weirder than we thought. But this country, when it was first formed and written out in drafts, in Constitution, sweat, blood, and everything else, we had visions of what the country should be, not what the country is right now. I know people want to feel patriotic and want their country back. They want to take the country back. They want to make America great again. It was always great. The people is what made the country great. All those nice purported things that people had said America was supposed to be, we sure as hell didn't demonstrate it. And we're still not. Regardless of who we got in the office right now, we've already demonstrated, the people itself have already demonstrated what kind of fools and idiots we are, and that we are put on the examining table. We're also put under a magnifying glass and under microscopes from everybody else, including those who we call the enemies of our country, or at least people we don't like. Because they're the ones laughing their heads off at us. We haven't made America great. We made America look like fools and idiots. And maybe we should be. Maybe we should be wearing all fools' hats and act like idiots. We're doing that right now as it is. Might as well complete the ensemble. So whatever you folks are thinking about these days concerning about our politics, think it carefully. Every time you talk, every time you think about it, every time you're going to be interacting, you're going to be making an effect on anybody else and everybody else around you. Even one person. One person will have a vote. One person will have a say. One person will have a controlling factor that you'll never know. And one way or another, you may not like the results. Or the results may surprise you. Think it out before you do and act. Be responsible, be accountable, be transparent. Without that, you guys are just full of shit. And I'm putting it straight out. And who the hell am I? Am I your judge? No. I'm just a fellow fool and idiot. Just like you.